Friends, you may be seated. In a few moments, we begin the service for Allie Karbal. On behalf of the family, I want to thank everybody who's joining us on the live stream as well, and of course, you here in the chapel. Officiating our service today will be Rabbi Zvi Zimmerman. Just as a gentle reminder, if anybody has a cell phone, please take a moment to turn it on silent.
We're going to start with a psalm. It's the first one, the first parak in Tehillim. Ashrei ish asher lo halach ba'atzas rashayim u'v'derech hatayim lo omad u'v'moshev leitzim lo yoshav ki im besoras Adonai chavtzo u'v'soraso yegeh yomam v'layla v'haya ke'etz shaso al palgei mayim asher pirio yitem bi'ito v'aleu lo yibol v'chol asher yaseh yatzliach lo chen harashayim ki in kamotz asher tidvenu ruach al ken lo yekumu rashayim ba'mishpat v'chatayim ba'adas tzadikim ki yodea Adonai derech tzadikim v'derech rashayim toved. Happy is the one who has not followed in the counsel of the wicked, nor stood in the path of sinners, nor sat in the company of the scornful. Rather, that one's delight is in the words of the Lord, meditating in God's Torah day and night. He will be like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose leaf will not wither. Whatever that one does will prosper. Not so the wicked who are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore, the wicked will not survive judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. The Lord loves the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. We're gathered here today to say words for Allie Karbal, Eliahu Herschel, Ben Dov Eliezer. I've been a part of the Karbal family for over 15 years now. This book is used primarily for two reasons. This past month I used it to marry Arya and Naomi Karbal. And now I'm using it for this. We're going to have 4 speakers today. We'll start with Arya, and then Shlomo and his wife Dashie, then Mickey, and then Allie's mother, who will say the last words before we do the El Male. Arya.
I don't even know what to say. Allie was the most beautiful mensch of a man with the most special neshama. And here are some of the things I want to share. His hair was always perfectly messy, and his beard was sagely, which to me I meant I could always come to Allie with any questions or problems regarding life, work, or dating, and Allie would have all the answers I needed. He was able to see the situation as it was from an outside perspective and always had great advice. One of my most treasured memories of me and Allie was teaching Allie to ride his bicycle in front of our house on Tamaroa. It made me so proud to be part of such an important experience in my baby brother's life. Allie was always able to see people for who they were inside at their cores. He was able to see the good in others, and he had a very big, warm, loving heart that was open and accepting to all. Allie had so many wonderful qualities. He had a terrific sense of humor. He was always joking around about everything. He was curious about the world. He was an artist, and he had a sharp, insightful mind. Allie loved Red Bull and Snickers more than anything. He loved taking our money in poker at my mom's house and playing pool and hustling us at pool. He loved Bob Marley, and he loved video games. He loved making kratom in my dad's basement before it was a hot ticket item. Allie was great at picking stocks and enjoyed reading sci-fi books. Allie loved The Simpsons and Futurama. But most of all, Allie loved his friends and family. I can't believe Allie is gone. His life ended too soon. This is a terrible dream that everyone wants to wake up from so we could see him again. Allie will be greatly missed by all, now and forever. Allie will not be forgotten. Every time I drink a Red Bull, or eat some Reese's, or every time I see a Simpsons episode, I'll think of him and I know he's in a much better place now, looking down on us, and he will live on in our hearts and memories. Eli, may God bless you and keep you, you wonderful, amazing, most special, one-of-a-kind brother of mine. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who came out. I tried to, write something, and I had a really hard time. It's been I guess it's hard to write because the last many years have been really challenging. But I guess when I think about my relationship with Eli, it's always been kind of challenging because I wanted him to be like me, and he didn't want to be like me. He wanted to be like himself. And that was hard for me to accept. Arya said so many wonderful things about him. They're all true. He forgot to mention that Eli was a genius, the smartest of us all. He was a lefty. He was the tallest. He's the only one of us born in May, or not born in December. So, he was just his own guy. And it took a long time for me to accept that, but I appreciated him for who he was. So sweet, so sensitive. I never really thought of him as sentimental, but then when we were going through his stuff, we found like a whole batch of cards that he had kept from like when he was 10, 11, birthday cards, letters from Camp Mosheva, and it just gave some insight that you kind of knew, but he kept it to himself. He was really so beautiful, but he kept a lot of that beauty to himself. I guess I like to tell a story or two. Eli was kind of a magical being. He, when he was sick and needed a liver, he kind of got it at the last moment. And I remember that moment. It was really like the most beautiful day in the world. I remember everybody who was there. We were all so excited. And one time, me and Dashie, on a Saturday night, we didn't really have anything to do, and we decided to play this game where we put dice in a shoe, and we rolled the dice, and depending on the number that came up, it would tell us where to go in the car. And after about 45 minutes or an hour of driving around, it led us right in front of his house. And that's kind of like an impossibility. He lived on a one-way street. He lived like 15 minutes away from us. And I called him and told him we were outside, and sometimes it could be hard to get him, to come out. But he came out, and he was eating waffles and ice cream for dinner and offered it to us. I think I ate some. but that, something like that, it just sticks with me because it just felt like really magical. One time we were at, close your ears, Rabbi Zimmerman, we were at IHOP, and Eli, I think he wanted the meal for free, so he asked about this pancake contest, and he was able to eat like 15 or 20 pancakes on his own, but you needed to eat more than that. And so we were sitting there thinking of ways to get rid of pancakes, and we like stuffed them into the coffee can. I put some down my pants and took them to the bathroom and flushed them down the toilet. And I think he won the contest. I can't remember if we paid the bill, is what I'm saying. But I guess I kind of felt like a big brother to him in that moment, just helping him through something he got himself into. And at the end, they brought a bucket. Yeah. But like I get some other nice things about it. He was a visionary, like Arya was kind of saying. He was. He told that if we listened to him about Bitcoin, we'd all be rich. But then he wasn't. He wasn't like greedy either. He also would tell us when to sell it. We didn't listen to him then either, and that was stupid. But yeah. And I guess I would. I really just want to mention that Eli also had another set of brothers, the Miller family, and that they were able to give him so much that we really couldn't. They gave him a sense of purpose. They gave him housing. They took care of him like family. And, we're really grateful for that. We are family. And he loved you guys so much. And I think we all just want to hear, everybody has a unique relationship with Eli. And we'd just love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear your stories about him. Yeah, thank you.
Eli was like a real brother to me. Eli was so funny. He was cracking me up even hours before he passed away. He put everyone in a good mood that day when we should have been the ones trying to cheer him up. Eli immediately included me in the family when I married in, and even before. If the family was together without me, he would ask Shlomo, "Where's Dashie?" During the family group chats, Eli would text me side commentary about family drama and make me laugh and feel like a real sister to him. On walks over the summer with Arya, Naomi, Shlomo, and me, Eli and I got along plotting money-making scams. He would start by saying, we gotta come up with a scam, Dashie, let's do it. And then we would brainstorm ideas. He was curious, knew so much random stuff about the world, and can always teach you something interesting. On one of our walks last winter or fall, he asked me about my coat, this coat, which is his grandma Martha's old coat, and what it was made of. I said I thought Fitch, but I had no idea what Fitch was, and had never heard of a Fitch until I got the coat. He proceeded to describe not only what Fitches looked like, but where they lived and how their behavior changed between the summer and winter seasons. He'd make mundane comments like, "What's that made out of?" into a whole discussion where you'd learn something you never knew. Hard to believe he's gone, and wish I had more time with him. I love you, Eli.
And I just want to say one more thing, that in his final moments, we were with him, me and Arya and my mom. So we got to give him a lot of love on the way out. So I'm grateful for that.
I just wanted to take a moment to remember some of my favorite memories with my older brother, Eli. Growing up in the Karbal house meant 2 brothers to a room, and to conserve space, that meant 1 bunk bed per room. My close friends know to this day that I'm still scared of monsters and ghosts and all that stuff, so you can imagine back then when we were kids, I was always scared at night too. There were 2 ways I used to find comfort for my fears. Number 1, I would climb up to the top bunk and ask Eli if I could sleep with him, and he always said yes. And if I got too scared through the night or heard an unexpected noise, I would pinch him to wake him up and make sure I was protected. Number 2, where most people would get annoyed, I actually found a lot of comfort in Eli's very, very loud snoring. It became a sort of white noise to me over the years. So much so that I couldn't fall asleep without it when we were sharing a room. And then one other memory I wanted to share is the time my bike was stolen. My mom went to this bike shop very close to where we lived on Karlov and bought me and Ailey $300 BMX bikes. And don't think she would let us forget the price of those bikes. The bikes had these little pegs on the back, which was so cool because then Ailey and I were able to ride together. We would cruise through Skokie to Walgreens or Blockbuster. Or if we were feeling even riskier, I would squat down on the front pegs and block his view because he was riding the bike, which led to many mild injuries. So one day I noticed that the dyno, that was the name of the bike company, was stolen from the backyard, and I was heartbroken, but it wasn't too long until I got a very unexpected call from Ailey telling me he was at Robert Crown Skate Park, calling from a payphone because he thought he saw my bike there. And I was blown away that somehow of all the places my stolen bike went, Ailey was there, and it was in fact my bike. The guy who stole it, his name was Dion, and I still hate him to this day. But actually, I'm just kidding, I forgive Dion. I think Ailey was feeling extra tough that day because he was with his friend BJ Korab, who played hockey, so they were ready for a fight. So like any good older brother, Ailey said something like over the phone, he said, "Should I kick his ass and take the bike back?" And since it was a payphone, there wasn't much time to make a decision. And I said something like, any naive younger brother would say, I was like, "Do it, get my bike back." Long story short, Ailey confronted the guy, but the guy was way bigger than him and BJ, and they didn't get the bike back. But the police actually found it weeks later. It was torn up. But that's not the point. The point is Ailey was being a good older brother, and he wanted to protect me and make sure he fought for me, which he always did. So lastly, I just wanted to say, we can all be honest. If you're here and the Karbals, our last name doesn't have the best reputation in the Jewish community. But I wanted to say this entire experience this last week has made me realize how strong of a family unit we really are. And we're lucky to have each other, and I'm really grateful for that.
So I'm Jan Zausmer, Karbal mom. Yesterday, I was asked to provide information about Ailey for a death certificate. What did he do? I replied that he drove Uber, he liked meeting new people, took pride in his 4+ star ratings, and figured out how he could start work at 5 a.m. so he could work the least amount of hours and make the most money. He also worked for Miller's Jewelry business for years alongside his second set of brothers, the Millers. So the interviewer then replied, it sounds like he was an entrepreneur. And I sat with that title and I agreed, Ailey would have liked that. So according to the federal government, Ailey is officially listed as an entrepreneur in the luxury business. He was an entrepreneur. He hustled like none of his brothers. Sorry, guys. He would save money for months before heading to Mosheva summer camp and asked me to take him to Sam's Club, so he could pick out what he thought would sell the best to the other campers. He said especially the California kids, they were the ones that really had the money. He'd arrive at camp, toss all of his clean clothes on the floor, the filthy floor, open business out of his camp locker, and every kid came with spending money, and Ailey left with theirs. He also became a really good pool player, and while still in junior high, he would take that bicycle to Evanston and hustle the college kids at Northwestern University. Ailey was incredibly loyal. Nobody and nothing meant more to Ailey than his brothers, who he referred to as the brothers, Arya, Shlomo, and Mickey. They got into a ridiculous amount of trouble together, but they took care and kept an eye on each other. Ailey also extended his love of his brothers to his sisters, Dashie and Naomi. I am so grateful that he was able to dance at Naomi and Arya's wedding just 2 months ago. And lastly, Ailey was generous. At the end, when all he wanted was to not feel pain, he declined pain meds so that he could be present with us, his family. It was an honor, our honor, that Ailey picked us as his family and me as his mom. We are heartbroken by his loss. I am confident that his soul will finally be at peace with his grandfather Norman and his biggest brother Yehuda. So, lastly, those who know him knew Ailey loved Bob Marley. So I'd like to share a quote. You open up your heart knowing there's a chance that it may be broken one day. And in opening your heart, you may experience a love and joy that you never dreamed possible. My heart is broken by the loss of Eliahu, but having had him in our lives brought joy and more adventures than I ever thought possible.
At the end of our Shemona Esrei, our daily prayers, there's a section where you can add in something. Right before the words, Yulo Ratzonim Reifi, that my words should be in front of you, God. The custom is to mention a pasuk, a verse, throughout Tanakh, throughout the Bible, that has to do with your name. Eliyahu Herschel has 2 of them, and both connect to one another. For Eliyahu, it's Ashrei She'el Yaakov Be'ezro, Sivro al Hashem Elokov. Happy is the one who the God of Jacob helps him. His hope is to Hashem his God. Herschel is Hakshiva L'kol Shavi Malkiv Elohai. Listen to the voice of my cries, my King and my God. Ki Elecha Espalo, because I will pray to you. But Herschel is not a real name. Herschel is Yiddish for Tzvi. That's my name. And the pasuk that connects with the name Tzvi is a pasuk that I say every single day, 3 times a day, and have done so for the last 25 years. Tzvi is Tsar umatzok mitzuuni, mitzvosecha shashuoi. The pain and oppression have surrounded me. It's what I have found. And yet your commands, the things that you have told us to do, that's what I'd love to do more than anything else. Pain is a part of everyone's life. That's the life that we have while being Jews in exile. We have pain everywhere we go, and even though in America, it's so much better than what we had in Europe, in some ways, the challenges are even greater. The expectations are bigger. and the room for error is unfortunately so much smaller. We believe in God's presence, in his almighty power, and sometimes that manifests themselves. Those powers can be seen by us, like God allowing Eli to be healthy enough not only to attend Arya and Naomi's wedding, but to be able to hold up the chuppah. And at other times, we're left to wonder why God allows young men like Eli to have to deal with the pain that he held in for many, many years. There's no answer to this question. There are so many other questions that we face in our daily toil, in a race that we're all speedily getting to the finish line, in a marathon that no one wants to win. But we have a job. And everyone here has that job. And that job is to see together the miracles that are with us daily, to rejoice with one another when it's time to be happy, and to mourn together when something great ends. Yeh zichro baruch, bila hamavos lanetzach, umocho Hashem dimim me'al kol panim. May all death be eradicated forever. May God wipe away the tears from all faces. If everyone could rise for the El Malay. El Malay Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Kanfei Ashchina B'Malos Kedoshim Utorim Kezar Rakia Mazirim Es Nishmas Eliyahu Hershel Ben Dov Eliezer Shaholach Leolamo Bavur Shanachnu Mispalim Varaskaros Nishmaso Began Eden today Menuchon Menuchaso Lochein Bala Rachamim Yasira B'Seser Knafov Lolamim Yitzra B'Tzora Chaim Es Nishmaso Adonai Hu Nachlaso V'yanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkavo V'nomar Amen.
You may be seated. This does conclude our service here in the chapel. Interment will follow at the family plots at Sunset Memorial Lawns in Northbrook. Upon return from the cemetery, the family will be sitting Shiva. That information, as well as information for memorial contributions, is available on the service folder you received on the way in. If you did not receive one, they are available on the way out. And for those of you who are online, that information is on our website. A procession will be forming outside in our parking lot going to Sunset Memorial Lawns. If you're going in procession, please make sure you obtain an orange funeral safety sticker, as well as a magnetic sticker to place on the inside portion of your vehicle. Please make sure your high beams and your hazard lights are on at all times. When driving in procession, please drive as close as safety permits to the car in front of you. Please use your horn liberally, especially while going through intersections. Please do not talk on any cellular device while in procession. The following individuals have been asked to serve as pallbearers. When I call your name, if you could please rise and stand next to Eli's casket. Arya, Shlomo, and Mickey, Frankie, Shaloi, David Miller, Jack Miller, and Mike Miller. If everyone could please rise at this time as we escort Eli's casket and the family from the chapel. Thank you.